All right. So the question is, how do I manage stress without compromising my productivity? This is, I think, my one of my favorite questions ever, mostly because every time I'm talking about stress management, the very next question that I often receive is, but that is going to lead me to not be as productive as possible. That is going to prevent me from being as efficient as possible. And that is not true. When I talk about stress management and when I talk about productivity, a lot of times you can see me harping about this literally all over my social media. Productivity does not mean sitting on your desk from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and just doing as much as you can. That is oftentimes us going on different tangents and not even achieving our goals. Productivity means achieving set goals. I personally invite people to understand what productivity looks like for them because it's very individualistic to them at the end of the day. Is by number one, set a big goal. This is the big goal that I want to achieve. Break that big goal into tinier goals, milestones, if you will, that every time you hit a milestone, you're going a bit closer towards the one big goal that you want to achieve. Once you have those milestones, start every day by asking yourself, okay, what does productivity look like to me? What can I do to reach towards my goal? And this is a very important question to ask yourself on a daily basis because there are some days when we are just not in a space where we can do a lot of things. Life happens and we are just pushing through things. On those days, productivity can mean completing this one task that you might have been putting off for a really long time, but getting it done. Just one task that helps you reach a small step closer to your goals, but you are hitting that goal nonetheless. And then there are days when you're hyperactive and you're like, oh my God, I am in such a good mood. I can do so many things today. On those days, productivity can be like, okay, I think I can do five big things today, and that will help me reach closer to my goal. Asking yourself on a daily basis what productivity feels like and looks like for you today, creating measurable goals and measurable tasks that you can work on, that you can focus on, depending on your energy levels and how much you can achieve on said day. That in and of itself can often lead to just being in a space where you're able to achieve your goals without feeling extremely stressed out. This is really important to me because I also talk about this in time and energy management and the importance of figuring out what time in a day is when you're hyperactive. So for me, that is usually from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning. I kid you not, that is when I'm the most active. That is when I'm the most prepared. I'm the most, like, okay, let's get it done. Let's do as much as we can. Those 4 hours is honestly when I get 90% of my tasks finished. What it also helps me do is, okay, you know what? I'm not getting distracted during those times. Now, this is true for me because I'm an entrepreneur. I set my own times. But you have to ask yourself those questions of when are you the most productive? When do you get the most amount of work done? Because you know that, okay, you know what? I usually have a slump after eating lunch. And so I am not that active. I'm not using that much of my brain power. So I'll do some of those tasks that are low level intensity tasks that I can get these done. They don't require all my attention and focus. But I do know that from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., I am the most active. My brain is going at a really high speed and I can get a lot of things done. That is when you put the more high intensity, high brain usage tasks, and you kind of ensure that you are not getting distracted a lot during those times. You're not setting a lot of meetings during those times, unless doing meetings is what makes you feel productive that day. But ensuring that you are not getting extremely distracted during those moments and getting as much as you can done. Being productive looks like that. And when you are a bit more aware of yourself, you are a bit more mindful of your energy levels, you are a bit more mindful of the goals that you want to achieve and what productivity looks like for you on a specific day. You're taking those measurable steps towards reaching your goals, and that can be a very fun thing to do. That can actually lead you to experience a lot more of a stress free experience when you are focusing on your work in your professional life. I hope that makes sense.